I always say you never meet the same person twice, not even within the same person. Like who you were yesterday is not who you are today.
Isolation, loneliness. That was the only way that I could really understand like who I was.
To ascend, to awaken, you must have the courage and the bravery. Because it's through the courage and the bravery that you transcend that energy from fear to love. Well, welcome to another episode of the Resilient and Rising podcast. Today we have my co-host, Dr. Sharma, CEO and founder of Alinus. Today's episode is going to be a very interesting subject, which is there is a price that you pay for healing your deepest, darkest wounds that we would like mainly not want to look at. So we try to like hide them in the shadows, shove them in our closets, right? People say like the demons in the closet, right? When you started your journey, what price did you pay for where you're at right now?
That's a great question. And I would say I paid like a large price. I felt like my whole life became into shambles. It was a complete crash and burn. And I felt like that was the only way for me to truly build myself back up in the manner that I needed to. That I needed to just embrace the destruction that had occurred in my life and not try to piece back things, in a quick manner to keep that foundation as shaky as it is, afloat. Sometimes you have to let the ship burn to the ground, before you can start building it back up. And so during that process, just talking a little bit about like how I kind of just grew up. I was an only child. I made a lot of friends. And my motto growing up was YOLO. You only live once. So let's have as much fun as we possibly can, And so, everything, that gets attracted to you based on your thoughts and your emotions, right? And the actions that come from that. So because I was in the mindset of YOLOing all the time, it brought me a lot of friends. But those friends are also in that same mindset. And when you have a particular mindset like YOLO, there's a lot of toxicity that comes with that, right? I know a lot of people out there that are listening can relate, right? Like you've done the whole YOLO thing, like F it, let's just do this. You know what? Let's not sleep tonight. Let's just go out, hit the bars all night long, come back at 7 a.m, forget sleep, then keep doing it all weekend long. And that was what my, attention and my mindset was like. Like, let's just have fun. Like, who cares about the consequences, right? Why does that really matter? I'm young, I'm free. I was like in the mindset of like, I had a really good profession. I'm a physician. So when you're going through that process, you are contributing an equal amount of energy of that YOLO, just like your friends are contributing to you, right? Like, it's not like you're the only person involved in these situations and everyone else is not contributing. It's a total effort that forms this community. And I would say that community can become very toxic. So when I had a crash and burn, because essentially if your life is based on YOLOing, that will essentially occur. You will realize that you have to spend time, to yourself. That was the biggest thing that I had to endure was isolation, loneliness, because it's like, for me, that was the only way that I could really understand like who I was. And what I needed to go was to be in my thoughts, because I never spent any time in my 40 years prior. I'm 42 right now. So for 40 years, I was always around people. I was always keeping myself distracted. But when I let the ship burn, the first thing I realized was that I'm letting go of control and I'm spending time to myself and got to figure this out.
I love the whole YOLO. I could the whole entire time I was just imagining you with like a big old sign on your forehead, like YOLO sign, or like a
The
shirt.
hats. We had the hats. You know what I mean? Like we would roll up everywhere with those hats, the YOLO hats. It was awesome.
But yeah, it's true. The price you pay to heal your deepest wounds is pretty much one. You will start to express yourself like in ways that your current circle or of friends or relationships that you're having, they won't like it because it's like their buddy that they knew is dying. It died, it passed away. You're no longer that version. And then another one is like your personality will change, and the people that you have around will not be able to relate to that anymore. Like your interest, your hobbies, or the things that you may have liked at that time changes. When your personality changes, your identity changes, you're no longer vibrating at the same frequency. That vibration changes. So when you look at the point of energy, like I'm no longer going to attract, I'm going to repel. You're going to feel like, as a weird way, like the word that I'm going to use is going to sound weird, but like a disgust, like an ick, like I really don't want to be a friend with you anymore. It has nothing to do with you. It's just we no longer align, which is align us. This is probably why I was born. Align us. So that kind of like resonates with me when you talk about the price that we pay to heal our deepest wounds. When you start changing, you start finding out who you are. You start um, elevating uh, to the highest version of yourself. You will experience a lot of criticism, a lot of conflicts, right? A lot of judgment, a lot of rejections, a lot of abandonment, which is necessary for your growth in that moment. Those things are necessary. As you keep elevating in this mountain of life, the less people that are meant to go with you. So it's a painful process. Like the price you pay for peace comes with a lot of letting go. So through this healing process, it's never linear. It's very messy. Um, you will get to a point and you're like, okay, I feel like I'm good. Everything is great. And then you're meant to shed more layers of you, and more people are just meant to leave. Like, but I was just friends with them. Now you're going to take them away. Kind of like that's what I would tell the universe. I'm like, I thought you wanted me to have friends. But no, no, they're not. They're not my friends. So
I get it. And you know what the main thing that you're mentioning is change is really hard. And people who are on a healing journey, they have really big hearts. And so because we have really big hearts, along the way, those hearts have been traumatized, and that's what's kind of led us down this path. And why have those hearts been traumatized? It's because oftentimes we have overextended ourselves. We have given more to others than they have given back to us in return. And we were okay with that. It was almost like normalized to us that, like, you know what? I just love seeing other people happy. So I'm going to do everything I can to make them happy. And oftentimes that meant sacrificing our own happiness, because we were in the belief system that as long as our friends and family are happy, that's what's going to keep us happy, right? And so you realize what a false sense of belief that really is. And that's kind of all about being in this whole matrix, right? What is the matrix? It's a self-limiting belief system, that has been constructed for hundreds of years. And so when you realize that this healing journey is about understanding who you are and then pouring back into your own authentic self and growing from that foundation, you will become a really powerful manifester. And so along that line and that journey, that change, it's difficult. Why is it difficult? Because we are creatures of comfort. And why is that? Is our nervous system, right? It becomes, used to a certain way and a certain lifestyle and being around certain people that makes us comfortable. But when we have to change, when we're going through this healing process, that takes energy. And that energy is very draining on us. It drains our brain. That's why oftentimes when we are going through a major life transition, whether that's a new job, whether that's a new marriage or divorce, whatever have you may be, it causes us to get tired really quickly. Our brains get inflamed. And so what do we naturally want to do? We want to go back to what was comfortable, and that's why like relationships and friendships are really hard to separate from. It's because we're so used to that. We are so used to being around them, even though those relationships and friendships and jobs are extremely toxic. We were just used to the toxic. And we were used to the dysfunctionality of things. And our nervous system was okay with that. So, for people that are listening, there's going to be a lot of things that occur along this healing process. And one of them is triggering other individuals, that your friends, that are your family, because they're used to you being around them all the time, giving them that amazing energy that you have, that loving, that kind energy. I think oftentimes we don't even understand how it must feel to be loved by someone who leads with the heart.
I like that. We don't know how to be loved. That's a good one. When it comes to what you said, when you're going on, and I think not just healing journey, more of like the life. What are we here to do? Life, the journey of life. It's really letting go, learning and mastering letting go. Because as you said, like we keep changing, um, we keep healing deeper parts of ourselves, the beliefs that we have about ourselves, our identity changes, our habits change. So we start to lose friends, lovers, and even family. And we're so conditioned, like you said, towards comfort, to familiarity, that anytime that we have to let go, it comes with pain. And a lot of people don't want to feel that pain. So if you really are doing the inner work, you are not only letting go of things that are not serving you, which is environments, people, your job, things that are not serving your growth anymore. It's a painful process that a lot of people, they bypass the feeling part, and they're like, well, I did it, but I'm like, you still never process the pain at the nervous system level. So, you know, when you start to simply just outgrow them and the people around you, you're actually breaking free. You're breaking free and stepping into that higher version of yourself, your higher self. Because in that process is a very painful process of intense emotions, like grief of what you used to know, the version that you were, taking full accountability for your actions, the internal pain that you have been holding on to, which is the shame and the guilt, all of your insecurities, all of your fears. That's a very painful process. It's like going through hell. And a lot of people don't really know what the depths of feeling all of that. And that will take a lot of time. Healing is a life journey. So it's like really embracing that discomfort. Um, but the more that you do this, the more peace that you will feel inside and the less people that will be around you. And it's a very lonely process, like you said, but more of a lonely, I think solitude is more of like a shifting way of looking at loneliness, because society looks at loneliness like you're alone and nobody wants you. Like that's the conditioning that there is when it comes to the word lonely. Whereas I embrace solitude. Like solitude is more like a vibe for me. More of like it has a nice energy to it when you say solitude. Um, yeah, the price you pay for healing is extremely painful. The parts of the versions of you will die, and anything that it's in life and in nature, it's all death and rebirth, death and rebirth. So awakening to that highest version of yourself is those versions of you dying, right? And nobody wants to know that because there's a lot of shifts, there's a lot of versions of you that need to be shed to embrace the rebirth of you. And I always say you never meet the same person twice, not even within the same person. Like who you were yesterday, Nick, is not who you are today.
That's well said. And the problem is that oftentimes on this journey, you still think of that older version of you, and you associate that other people still remember you as that guy. At least for me, like he used to party all the time. He used to just like play around with girls, or he was this like a lost soul, right? And that's what you can't do, right? You can't be focused about what other people are thinking about you and what version of that person are they thinking about. Because when you are working on healing, you have to forgive yourself for the past. You have to heal from that guilt and shame of all the toxicity that you have created in your life and that had affected other individuals in your life. And you have to ground yourself to the present moment. Like, who are you right now? Who is Mishell right now? Who is Nikhil right now? He's not the same person, like you said, as he was yesterday or as he was 1 year ago. He has put in a lot of effort and a lot of time on himself. And in that process, he has become an authentic version of who he is. And he's following his soul's blueprint. And the most important thing is now I'm in this unconditionally love energy. I'm not the same doormat that I was once in the past. I've understood what boundaries are. I understand what self-care and self-love is. But I'm still leading from my heart and that unconditional love energy, which is the most powerful energy, in the world.
I love that because the healing journey is also stepping into that self discovery, who you truly are, underneath all these layers of beliefs that are not even yours. So what you lose gets replaced with what you find in the journey, and what you find is more love, peace within, and that's the price that one will pay every single time that you are growing as a person. And another thing too, like when I've been studying a lot more about somatics and getting certain certifications to help more people. A lot of people have this idea, like, how do I feel the pain? How do I sit with it? Or how do I release trauma from my body? So when you go down to trying to release, I kind of think of it like I'm trying to fix, I'm trying to get rid of it. Well, why do I want to get rid of it? You're not. Meditations, we go towards EFT tapping, we go towards like what's another, breath work, different tools to release trauma from the body, but you're not trying to release, because if I'm feeling pain right now, as soon as I use a tool, I'm not creating a tolerance for that. So it's not about releasing adrenaline and cortisol from your body, is creating a bigger capacity of feeling those emotions. So I kind of use the analogy of like a sand hole, right? So if my sand hole has this little bit of space, the emotion or the energy, it's not that there's too much anger or it's too intense or the shame is too big, is that your container, your capacity to hold this energy is too small. But the more that I sit with it, the more that my container, my capacity of holding this discomfort, this energy gets bigger. Because that's the point. We're here to embrace all types of emotions. We are here to feel all types of emotions. It's about feeling discomfort, greater capacity of that discomfort, and then it's no longer going to be painful as it was in the beginning. That is truly living for me a life fulfillment.
Yes, yes. You just gave me goosebumps because I feel like I've now finally come to the point where I'm able to live in discomfort for a longer period of time without distracting myself like I would in the past. In the past, there would be an incident that would occur, a triggering moment, and it would shock my system. And I didn't want to sit in that pain. So what did I do? I would start drinking, or I would go out and party with friends, or I would scroll on my social media, or I would end up buying like 100 pairs of shoes because that would help like release any painful issue that was running through my body, because pain is really, really uncomfortable. But like you said, you have to develop a toolbox to be able to use, to be able to increase your capacity to be able to sit with some discomfort. Now, I'm not saying that you need to be in discomfort for 72 hours in a row, isolated in your room. No, because part of dealing with discomfort, I've realized, is to be able to reach out to other individuals. Like that has to be something in your toolbox. At least for me, I know is connection and being connected with those who are on a similar journey with you. So, for instance, those that are afraid of starting this healing journey and leaving people behind, it is scary. There's a leap of faith that has to be made. You don't know who your new friends are going to be, but I can promise you this, those new friends, because you're in this vulnerable, authentic, unconditionally love energy, it literally attracts other people in that same vibe, in that same emotional space. And that's extremely powerful. So it's like on this journey, I met, Kevin Drummond, who is a growth and mindset expert. He's on some of our podcasts. I've met the amazing Mishell Latour. We've all become like this soul family. I met like Mona Patel, another amazing individual. And so it's like we are all like, you start meeting these people who are on that journey, and it's like an moment. Like it's so exciting. It's so invigorating. And it's like, it's better to have 4 quarters than it is to have 100 pennies, right? Just think about that. Like having 4 solid quarters as your friends they help you grow and evolve like nothing that I've ever experienced before.
Mm.
So, it's just a really, truly beneficial thing. And where I was going to was that connecting with other individuals like this, because you will meet them on your journey. It's really pivotal, and I know it was pivotal for me in being able to continue to handle life's adverse events that will continually to occur throughout life. Life isn't, like you said, linear. It's ups and downs, and sometimes those downs might be for months in a row. And so you got to have those things in your toolbox, like the neuroregulation stuff, like connection. That's going to really keep you grounded and at the same time growing, using those obstacles and those adverse life events as an opportunity to learn from, to grow from. And when you get into that mindset, you are creating extremely powerful manifestations and realities.
I love what you said, like knowing your nervous system, creating a relationship with your nervous system is really important because healing is actually happening in the body, not the mind. And healing at a very cellular level happens when you realize that there is no quick fix. It's not a one time event. Nervous system is literally a lifestyle. Regulating your nervous system is a lifestyle, it's a state of being. It's the intention that, like healing, what I chose to do was I wanted to change, but it was an intention. It's all about the intention when it comes to anything in your life. And every day my intention was to connect with my body, to heal my inner child, reparent my inner child. And it's that motive. But a lot of people want, instant gratification, like if I take this course or if I do this thing then I will be healed, or if I do this program or use this tool. Like, no, it's literally a lifestyle change, and people don't want to let go of that, especially when it comes to stress. Like, I'm going to deal with stress, I'm going to use these methods, but I'm going to stay in this job. You're staying in that job because it's comfortable, it's easy, but you're not there to take the different road of like carving your own path and starting your own thing that could be helpful for your nervous system, right? Nobody wants to do that. Or eating certain things. I don't want to stop eating this. I had to change a lot of things that I was doing back then because I wanted to change my life, but we have to let go and do something different.
Yeah, I had to let go of my job. I left my career in the hospital that I worked, 15 years to accomplish. Actually, more than that, like 25 years, including schooling to get to. I left behind friends, some family members, everything that I needed to let go that was causing me any kind of toxicity or a negative mindset. I made the commitment to release that and to take that leap of faith to keep going and to keep evolving, because who we are before we get to this point is who we were in order to survive. Like right from birth, our personalities were a survival mechanism that were created from when we were born, but we've outgrown that. Imagine yourself in a cage, and so as a baby, that's okay. You need to have like support. You need to be guided during the time period. We don't know what's going on, and hopefully we're blessed enough to have some good guidance, right?
Yeah.
But eventually you start growing, and that, protection that was put over you, you start reaching its cap. And oftentimes that's where people get stuck, right?
Mhm.
In order to get out of that cage, you have to go in and do some serious healing work. You have to understand like who you are. You have to let go of the self-limiting belief systems that have been taught to you that you had used to survive. And you have to really get aligned to what is your soul telling you that's making you happy. What is that? Nobody else can let you know what that is. Only you have that answer. You have that unique gift and ability to bring to this world, and it's up to you to be able to unlock that. And that takes a lot of courage.
Hmm. I was just about to say that we are so conditioned to fear. We're programmed by everything in our surroundings to fear that we don't have to ascend, to awaken. You must have the courage and the bravery, because it's through the courage and the bravery that you transcend that energy from fear to love. Because you have to listen to your passion, your deepest like heart's desire, that maybe it's to change the world, but first I have to change myself, or maybe it is to go and help children across the world, help the puppies. I don't care what it is, but you get to follow that purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Because everyone around you is spitting poison into your ear. As soon as I said I wanted to leave the hospital, are you crazy, Nick? Why would you do that? Right? So imagine like hearing that and those negative words. That makes you rethink. Like, oh, am I crazy? Yeah, maybe. Like, why would I leave this like well-paying job to make nothing for a year or two in order to pursue my dreams? That does sound crazy, right? So there's people like this all around you because they're so conditioned to believe a certain way of being has to be the only way you live. It's been conditioned. So please, be mindful of that. That's why when you make this healing process start for yourself, you do have to go into solitude because you have to prevent that kind of energy from coming into your ear. Yeah. You have to quiet the external noise so you can really clue into who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. That is extremely important here, right? Like quiet that noise and have an unshakable, having unshakable faith in who you are and what you're trying to accomplish.
I love that. And that's a beautiful way to like just convey this journey, because both of us have gone in this journey and we're still in the journey. Unshakable believe that when nobody believes in you, you believe in yourself. Until, because I always tell people like, you can't just believe in yourself. You need to go a little step further. You need to know yourself. Like there's a point where I'm no longer believing, like I know that I can do it. I know that I can show up. I know that I can make this happen. And that's the key. Like it's so empowering when you know that you can.
Yeah, for sure. It is. It truly is, man. It truly is. I love that. Yeah.
So if you guys have any questions, I would love to answer that. I love reading the questions at the bottom. And follow Alina's on Spotify and YouTube. And
Follow Resilient Rising on Apple, on
yes,
Spotify, on YouTube. It's a blessing to be able to do this with Mishell, and hopefully everyone out there is resonating for people who are a similar journey as us.
same. All right, bye guys. Thanks for listening.